Today, let's go over Star Wars when it comes to writer and director of The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, Rian Johnson is the man who created The Last Jedi, and ever since the release of the movie, there's been a lot of criticism going against it, a lot of backlash, if you will, not only by the decisions that he made for the movie, but also a lot of decisions that Kathleen Kennedy, the president of Lucasfilm and producer of the movie as well, actually approved some of the decisions for the actual film itself. So a lot of people have been wondering as to what's happening with Rian Johnson's new Star Wars trilogy. It's been, pretty much shaky at this point from what it seems of what's happening behind the scenes over at Disney and Lucasfilm ever since the Solo: A Star Wars Story box office results. However, in a Twitter conversation, I don't know if you guys ever heard about this, but Rian Johnson was going over his views of Star Wars and comparing it to George Lucas's outlook on the overall Star Wars franchise. And this is what, Rian Johnson had to briefly say about comparing his vision to George Lucas's vision and what actually keeps Star Wars alive in his mind. Now, this is what Rian Johnson had to say. For me, The Last Jedi 100% distills what the spirit and heart of Star Wars has been in my life. But yes, it is personal. It is a certain point of view, and it has to be. When talking about George Lucas, this is what Rian Johnson had to say. The originals were personal for George Lucas. That's why they are all alive. Now that is, of course, The Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, Return of the Jedi. He goes on to say, Star Wars films will truly betray the heart and spirit of the originals if they lose that. So as you see right there, he was comparing the overall vision of George Lucas and how they are personal to his own, in which he is also saying that his view of The Last Jedi is a personal thing. Now, the thing here is, you guys may remember that conversation between both Mark Hamill and Rian Johnson, in which Mark Hamill said, you gotta listen to the fans, and offer them what they want, and Rian Johnson said, no, this is our movie, this is what we have to make, and it's not all about the fans, essentially, it's about making this movie, and not listening to all the fans out there. So Mark Hamill had his share of words with Rian Johnson, and Rian Johnson has his share of words with Mark Hamill, and vice versa. So it was always a back and forth thing between the two, apparently. And the thing is that you can tell that Mark Hamill really truly cares about the fans deep down. And the thing with The Last Jedi is, I feel like that there's just a lot of plot elements in that movie that really just didn't feel too emotional to me at all. It just felt very, very flat. The whole entire Canto Bight sequence I just did not like. I did not like the character of Rose. I really did not like the ending shot with the stable boy and the whole, Falcon jumping to light speed and just vanishing. It just didn't feel very Star Wars-y to me toward the very end of the film. The other thing is that I think that Luke Skywalker deserved a whole lot more action, because think about it this way, right? Fans have been wanting for Luke as a Jedi Master for 30 plus years, to see him actually fight in a lightsaber duel, and I think that that is one big thing that Rian Johnson missed in The Last Jedi, where he's essentially just dodging a couple of moves by Kylo Ren for a max of 40 seconds. So that was one of my other complaints of the movie. But the thing here is that with Star Wars Episode 9, now that J.J. Abrams, is actually directing the film, he actually has a big task that he has to get right for a majority of the Star Wars fans to be happy around the world, and that is, of course, to make it true to the fans. I feel like that if he delivers a great story that a lot of fans are going to agree with, J.J. Abrams, will have pretty much at least attempted to save everything when it comes to the sequel trilogy, because right now a lot of people would argue that Star Wars is broken, and I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that, but a lot of people do say that Star Wars is broken and it needs some fixing. Now, the thing here with JJ is he is a good fixer, however, he's not the greatest closer, as a lot of people say, on a lot of projects that he's been involved in. So as far as fixing goes, that's, one thing to look forward to for JJ, but As far as closing, I don't know how this movie is going to end, if we're going to get full closure here, or if he's going to leave it really ambiguous, where we are going to be questioning ourselves to the end of time. But as for Rian Johnson's outlook, and him acknowledging George Lucas's outlook on Star Wars, and how he said this, for me, The Last Jedi 100% distills what the spirit and heart of Star Wars has been in my life. But yes, it is personal, it's a certain point of view, and it has to be. The originals were personal for George Lucas. That's why they're alive. Star Wars films will truly betray the heart and spirit of the originals if they lose that. And that's what Rian Johnson had to say. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding from night to morning.